Everyone, I am Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone, and welcome to a brand new video, first video of 2026, and it will be me predicting the 2025 season 2026 NFL playoffs. And we're just going to go right down the line by how the games are played in order. I wish they kind of set up the games how they were played in order, but we're just going to, so sorry if we're going to be bouncing around here, but we will be predicting the wild card straight up through my Super Bowl prediction. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we are going to have a very interesting playoffs. It felt like last year when I made this prediction video, it was very predictable. It felt like the Ravens were going to beat the Steelers in the wild card. The Bills would beat the Broncos in the wild card. It just felt very predictable, a lot of predictable matchups. This is the first unpredictable playoffs I think we've had in quite a couple of years, obviously. No Chiefs, no Ravens, no Lions. That really helps with that. The Eagles, even though they won the Super Bowl, they haven't looked entirely great until the last month of the season. And then you have teams like the Jaguars and the Bills and even the Panthers being a surprise, even though the Panthers had an 8-9 record. All three of those teams have been absolute surprises this year, and let's not forget, I think we all expected the Houston Texans to make the playoffs at the start of the year, but we did not expect them to go into the playoffs winning, I believe it's 9 straight games, so watch out for the Texans. This should be a fun tournament. So let's begin with the first game, which is going to be Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time between the Rams and the Panthers. Now, the Panthers did win the regular season matchup in Carolina. Matthew Stafford threw 2 interceptions in that game, but ultimately I think the Rams are out for revenge here. I think that they are very upset that they lost that game to Carolina. That was kind of the beginning of it wasn't a guarantee that the Rams were going to get the 1 seed out of the NFC, and then, of course, they lost to the Seahawks, and then they lost to the Falcons, and, of course, they ended up losing the 1 seed. They drop all the way down to the 5, but I think they are very upset about that, and I definitely think they're going to take care of business against an 8-9 Panthers team. I'm happy for Carolina. It's a cool moment. The Buccaneers really didn't deserve the playoffs either, if I'm being honest. They're a better team than Carolina. I think if the Buccaneers fire Todd Bowles, which could happen, I think it will happen. I think if the Buccaneers fire Todd Bowles and hire John Harbaugh, for example, they would be right in the thick of things for being a real contender out of the NFC. But as of right now, they still have Todd Bowles, and as long as they have Todd Bowles, I think the Buccaneers will stink in that division for a while. So, Carolina, it's a cool moment for them. Everyone on social media is like, we want to see playoff Bryce Young, guys. Bryce Young is not that good of a quarterback. I just don't know how bluntly to put it. He will get you 16 passing touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 2,000, 3,000 yards, and that's it, and that's fine. He's not like a horrendous quarterback or anything, but he's just not the quarterback you want if you want to compete for a Super Bowl. Moving on to the next Saturday game, we have the Packers and the Bears. This is a really tough one because obviously, the Packers won the game in Green Bay, and then Chicago won that thrilling overtime win in Chicago. That was in Week 17, so that was only a few weeks ago that happened. This is a really tough one. I know Jordan Love's been banged up. He's missed the last 2 games, but he will be healthy for this wildcard game. And the Bears looking for their first ever playoff win since 2010. Really tough one to predict here. I'm going to go Chicago. I'll give Chicago the benefit of the doubt because I truly believe that the Bears, just as an organization, they are hungry. They really want to just win this game for the fan base, for the 15 years now that they have been waiting to win a playoff game. They made the playoffs a couple of times, 2018 and 2020, but didn't come away with anything there. This is the Bears taking advantage of the Packers being injured, the Lions having an off year, and the Vikings having J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback. I'm not really surprised the Bears were good this year. I mean, I didn't expect them to be, what are they, like 12-5, 11-6 good? But if you told me at the beginning of the year the Bears snuck into the playoffs as a wildcard team, I wouldn't be that surprised. The defense is good enough. Caleb Williams developed, and he's turned out to be a pretty good quarterback, so I'll trust the Bears beating the Packers. Moving on to the next game on the schedule, which is Jaguars-Bills. In my opinion, this is the game of the weekend and not even remotely close. This could be an absolute fireworks show between Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, who have both been arguably like the hottest quarterbacks in the league over the last month, excluding Stafford and Drake May, of course. I will go Jacksonville, and I know a lot of people are going to pick Buffalo. I think Buffalo's 2.5, 3.5 point favorites. And it's understandable. The Bills have the experience compared to the Jaguars, but it's just something about this Jaguars team, man. I don't know what it is, but they have that magical touch, man. Liam Cohen should be coach of the year. I'm going to throw that out there as my prediction, him being coach of the year. And I just think that this is... I mean, Jacksonville's had prove-it games all year long. Let's not deny it anymore. They've beaten San Francisco. They've beaten the Chiefs when they had Mahomes. They've beaten the Colts with Daniel Jones. They've beaten the Texans. They've beaten the Chargers. They've beaten the Broncos in Denver. Trevor Lawrence had a 6-touchdown performance earlier this year. So, and good for Buffalo. Buffalo is still having a really good season. It's just, for Bills standards, they didn't necessarily meet the expectations. And to be truthfully honest, outside of that win against the Patriots a few weeks ago where they came back and won, I really, what impressive wins have the Bills had down the stretch besides that Patriots game? I don't know, man. The Bills, they're a weird team. They are a very weird team, and they could definitely win this game. I'm just going off of momentum, and the Jaguars certainly have momentum. But this will be a shootout. I'm predicting Jacksonville to win this one 31-28 walk-off field goal by Cam Little. This game could be incredible. It could be an instant classic. Jaguars 2-0 against the Bills all time in playoff wins, so hopefully they can make it 3. I am a Jaguars fan. Don't worry. I won't be entirely biased throughout the video. I think there is a legit chance the Bills can win. But give me Jacksonville, man. I got to have confidence in my team after a 13-win campaign. Moving on, we have the Niners and the Eagles. Woo. This is a really good one because before Week 18, I would have said San Francisco in a heartbeat, but now I'm a little hesitant. I don't know, man. Seattle's defense really roughed up the Niners' offense. The Eagles could have had the 2 seed. No one's talking about that. They could have had the 2 seed thanks to the Bears losing to the Lions Week 18, but they decided to bench Jalen Hurts, so they're as the 3. And to be quite honest, I think the Eagles got to be kicking themselves a little bit because I would certainly rather go up against the Packers than the 49ers in round 1. The Eagles are the defending champs. It's kind of crazy to think that even though they've won 11, 12 games this year, they really could still lose in the first round, and I think they will, honestly. San Francisco has proven that their defense is good enough to win games. As long as the 49ers' offense is consistent, they are good. The way to beat the 49ers, as the Seahawks showed last week, was if you do not let Christian McCaffrey get going in the run game, and you prevent Brock Purdy from throwing down the field, you're cooked. If Purdy's just stuck throwing checkdowns and short little slants to Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, I don't know how sustainable that is for the Niners. Purdy loves that deep ball. He loves to scramble out of the pocket and make plays happen on the fly. The Eagles' defense, very similar to the Seahawks defense, so it will be interesting to see what happens. But I will go San Francisco wins. Again, I think this is another tight one. It's either going to be Niners, Eagles, or Bills, Jaguars. Both of those games, I think, will be the 2 main games to watch this weekend. I will go with the Niners, though, but if the Eagles win, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Moving on to the final 2 AFC games, we have the Patriots and the Chargers. I'm not going to waste much time with this one. New England is going to steamroll the Chargers. That is my prediction here. The Chargers have a good team. They have a good offense, and they can keep pace with the Patriots. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about a team from Los Angeles, California, coming out to Massachusetts where there's already snow on the ground. It'll be below 30 degrees most likely because it's a Sunday night game, so it's going to be 8 o'clock in Mass. I mean, you really expect the Chargers to go out there and win this game in the cold? I know for a fact I don't. So I'm going to go with the Patriots beat the Chargers. I mean, I don't really know a final score for this one. I'll go like 27 to 13, I guess. Patriots win. I really think the Patriots could win this one by 2+ possessions. I like the Chargers a lot. I just think this is such a bad matchup for them. If they were playing the Steelers, I think they would have a much better shot at winning. But they were kind of going up against New England and or Jacksonville, and they were definitely not going to win those games. But if the Chargers are wrong, hey, I'm wrong, and I would love to see Justin Herbert get his first career playoff win, but I'm just not feeling it. The Patriots defense is probably going to step up in a big way. Moving on to our last game, the Monday night game. We have Texans and Steelers. Again, another one I'm just going to go quick with. Houston wins this one. Great defense coming in on the longest winning streak in the league. And, good for Pittsburgh making the playoffs. Obviously, the Ravens wasn't a cakewalk. It went down to a missed field goal. If the Ravens made that field goal, I'd be predicting them to lose to Houston as well. And just the entire game, the entire time I'm watching Ravens Steelers, I'm just thinking wow, what a great game this is. Too bad the winner of this game is going to get absolutely destroyed by the Texans in the wild card. Now, maybe not destroyed, because I think Pittsburgh's offense can put up kind of a chance, and if the defense plays well enough, they could steal it. I mean, let's not pretend that C.J. Stroud is this magnificent quarterback. He's above average. He's very good, but he isn't this game-changing quarterback that the Texans, need to maybe go on a deeper playoff run. But he's certainly good enough, and the defense is certainly capable enough to slow down a 40-plus-year-old Aaron Rodgers, so give me the Texans. All right, so now that we're in the divisional round, we're just going to go AFC, NFC. First up, we have the 1-seeded Broncos off their bye week going up against the 5th-seeded Texans. Give me Denver just because I think a lot of people are like, oh, Denver's fraudulent. They might be. They certainly might be. But I think we are underestimating the fact that the Broncos have a week of rest where the Texans are playing a Monday night playoff game and have one less day to prepare. Now, because the Texans have the Monday night game, we know Broncos-Texans will be played on a Sunday, but the Texans are still missing that extra key day of rest. They got drawn a bad card playing that Monday night game. Now, it didn't matter when the Rams won the Super Bowl in 2021. They played a Monday night game, went into Tampa, and beat the Buccaneers the following week. And I guess players are used to it because it's only a Monday to Sunday, but still, I just don't think I trust the Texans enough to go on the road and win. I think if this game was in Houston, I'd be way more comfortable picking them. Because it's in Denver, I'll go Broncos. And again, this comes down to, this would be a great prove-it game for C.J. Stroud, but it's also a great prove-it game for Bo Nix. If Nix can throw a couple of touchdowns and avoid turnovers, and I don't know if the Broncos are getting J.K. Dobbins or not this postseason. I don't think so, but it would be interesting to see what happens. I just think these are the two best defenses in the AFC. It'll be a low-scoring one, but I think the Broncos edge it out. Jaguars and Patriots. Oh, boy. Well, as a Jaguar fan, I would love revenge for the 2017 AFC Championship game. That would be pretty cool. The Patriots are a good team, man. And we're coming off, the Jaguars are playing the Bills and the Patriots are playing the Chargers. That's quite a difference in competition, in my opinion. I think the Bills are a significantly better team than the Chargers. And I think that could actually benefit Jacksonville here. I really think that the Jaguars, again, At this point, they have beaten everybody that they have asked them to beat. At this point, it would be the Bills and the Broncos and the Niners and the Chiefs and and the Chargers. Like, oh my goodness. These are all games where people predicted the Jaguars to get crushed in, and if they make it past the Bills, I think that momentum's going to carry. The Patriots are great. The Patriots have won like 10 out of their last 11. Like, the Patriots have been great too. It's in Gillette. I know I was talking about a California team going to Massachusetts and struggling. So what makes the difference of a Florida team? Another team from a warm climate comes down to Mass, but guys, this Jaguars team is different this year. Liam Cohen and Mike Vrabel, I know awards end at the end of the regular season, but the winner of this game should win Coach of the Year out of the AFC. Well, actually, it should be Liam Cohen anyway, but that's a different story for a different day. I'm going to go Jacksonville here just because I trust the Jaguars' offense against the Patriots' defense more than I trust the Patriots' offense against the Jaguars' defense. The Jaguars have the best run defense in the league, and Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, solid running backs. It's actually a really good 1-2 punch for the Patriots. But if Jacksonville can slow them down, Drake May has to beat the Jaguars with his arm, which he certainly can. I'm not saying he can't. Drake May certainly can throw, especially now that the Jaguars are without Jordan Lewis the whole playoffs. Drake May can throw the ball very well against this Jaguar secondary. But I'm trusting the Jaguars offense. The Jaguars, they took a little bit to get going on offense. It kind of felt like it was a flip-flop. In the first half of the year, I trust the Jaguars defense more than the offense, and now I trust the offense more than the defense. Really weird, but I will go Jacksonville beating the Patriots. People will call it an upset, but guys, it's a 13-win team beating a 14-win team. I don't think that's really that surprising. Moving on over to the NFC, Seahawks and Niners. Well, they did split you know what's funny? They split the regular season series, but they played in week 1 and week 18. So I would actually really love for this to happen because I want to see a Niners-Seahawks round 3 really badly. I really think this comes down to whoever the home team is ultimately ends up winning. And in this case, it's Seattle. They're going to be well rested another week. They have finally figured out the great 1-2 punch known as Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Darnold, he doesn't need to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns every game. He just needs to be, I hate using the term game manager, because Darnold is better than a game manager per se. But I think, Darnold, it's more so as long as Darnold doesn't turn over the ball, the Seahawks are fine. As long as the Seahawks aren't giving up extra possessions, they are fine. Now, the Niners might, emphasizing on the might, have Fred Warner back at this point. And that's going to obviously help out San Francisco stop the run game, which they had a hard time doing in Week 18. Niners should be healthy. Guys like Ricky Pearsall will be playing. Trent Williams will be playing. But I just think this is Seattle's year. I really just think this is Seattle's year right now, and I don't want to ruin their momentum or nothing. I think that they are a very fun team to watch. Their defense is the real deal, and their offense can be consistent when they're consistent. So give me the Seahawks to advance to the NFC Championship game. And lastly, we have the Rams and the Bears. Ooh. Now, if you remember correctly, the Bears actually beat the Rams last year in the regular season, but two completely different teams. The Rams have Devontae Adams now, and the Bears have Ben Johnson now. So amazing how fast time flies. But, I think beating the Packers is, you'll laugh, but I really think that's a good enough season for them, right? They got double-digit wins. No one expected that. They made it to the playoffs. They beat their arch rival in the playoffs for their first playoff win since I was in elementary school. And then you lose to the Rams team that was the Super Bowl favorites back in September. I think if you're a Bears fan, you take that. Obviously, you're losing at home. That hurts. But, again, at the end of the day, I think you take that season if you're the Bears. Now, the Bears could win. They have a great 1-2 punch at running back with Swift and Monangai. I think the Bears have a great rushing attack. but could they exploit that exploit that rushing attack against the Rams? I mean, the Falcons did, but DeAndre Swift and Monangai are no Bijan Robinson, you know? The Rams have done a good job in shutting down star running backs all season long. So I'm going to have to go with Rams in this one. Ultimately, I think Stafford can beat the Bears defense with his arm, where I think Caleb Williams cannot. And that brings us to an AFC and NFC Championship game. Oh boy, this would actually be a really fun Final Four, man. This would be a really fun Final Four. We're going to begin with the AFC, since I believe the AFC game is at 3:30 this year. Yeah, the AFC Championship game's first, so we'll predict this one first. Jaguars and Broncos, and I know Jacksonville's already steamrolled Denver, and I know they would use that as extra motivation to, beat them again, franchise's first ever Super Bowl. But, I am not a biased man, all right? Like, listen, I think even if the Jaguars lose to the Patriots, I'll accept it. I just really don't want them to lose to the Bills, because I don't want them to win 13 games and then get bounced in the first round. Like, that sucks. But if you beat the Bills and even lose to the Patriots, it's still a great season. I really think the AFC Championship game is the Jaguars showing that they are not afraid to exceed expectations, and that next year they can truly contend for the Super Bowl. Not saying they couldn't beat Denver, but I just trust Denver's defense a lot. And again, this is a Jaguars fan saying this. I saw Trevor Lawrence score 4 touchdowns against this Broncos defense a month ago. So I wouldn't be scared of playing the Broncos, but I think the second time around, Denver wins a really close game. I'll go like 23-20. Denver wins. Jacksonville loses a heartbreaker. But again, like, as a Jags fan, I'm okay with that. I was going into the year expecting 8 or 9 wins. We got 13 and 2 playoff wins. I'm not really going to complain about that. I'll be sad the ride's over, but I'm not going to cry over sour grapes there. It's still a great season, and I've had Denver making the Super Bowl since October. I immediately jumped on the Broncos wagon when they were 8-1. I instantly was like, "Yep, this is the team that's going to be the problem." And again, I know their offense is very inconsistent, but I really trust their defense. And their offense is good enough to win games. Guys, this is Bo Nix. He threw 4 touchdowns against the Packers. He's played really well against really good teams. He's beaten Houston. He's beaten I would say beaten the Chargers in Week 18, but that was with the Chargers backup. So you get my point, though. Denver is consistent, and they have beaten good enough teams throughout the year. Seahawks-Rams, round 3 for this one as well. Poor Seahawks going up against their division here in the playoffs. Again, split in the regular season. The Seahawks almost beat the Rams. If it wasn't for Sam Darnold throwing 4 picks, they probably would have beaten the Rams back in November. And then, of course, they won that thrilling Thursday night game back in December to pretty much catapult them into the 1 seed, dropping the Rams down to the 5 seed. This is going to be amazing. I don't think we're going to get necessarily a high-scoring game like we did in the Thursday night game. We saw it in December. I also don't think we're going to get a great defensive masterclass that we got in November. I don't. I think we're going to get somewhere in the middle. Final score is going to be 24, 27, 21. Really tight game down the stretch. And I'm going to go with the Rams. And here's why I'm going with the Rams. Simply based off of experience. Matthew Stafford has been here before. Sam Darnold, 14-win season. Back-to-back 14-win seasons for him. He wins a playoff game this time around. Again, kind of like Jacksonville. I think Seattle had way higher expectations than Jacksonville at the start of the year. Don't get me wrong there. I had the Seahawks winning 10, 11 games and comfortably making the playoffs anyway at the start of the year. But again, if you're Sam Darnold, you have that playoff win now, and you did against a really tough either 49ers or Eagles team, so that's very impressive. And again, I really just think that you're in a good spot. Seattle is in a good spot. They have a lot of money. They locked up a lot of their guys to multi-year contracts. Guys like Darnold, DeMarcus Lawrence, Cooper Kupp, all the free agents they signed over the offseason, they have signed multi-year contracts. I think even Zach Charbonnet's contract is isn't even expired until next year. The Seahawks, salary cap-wise, they are in a great position, and Mike Macdonald is a great head coach. So even if they lose this game to the Rams, don't be discouraged. That team is bright for the future. And, well, gentlemen, I'm going to be honest. This is the Super Bowl I had back in November. Very risky of me not changing it. My original Super Bowl prediction was Ravens-Rams. Midway through, I switched it to Broncos-Rams. And I'm going to stick with my gut here and go, the Rams beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl. This is what I predicted since first week of November when Denver was like 9-1 and the Rams were on a roll before they had heartbreaking losses to teams like the Seahawks and the Falcons. But I'm putting that aside. I think the Rams really play their best ball in the postseason, just like what they did in 2021. Matthew Stafford wins his second ring on top of potentially an MVP award. And I think the Rams win Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. Sorry, Niners fans, you're not going to like that. But I think the Rams defeat the Broncos in a great game. I'm going to go 24-20 final score. The Rams beat the Broncos in what will be a tremendous Super Bowl. I'd love to see this because, again, I think the Broncos defense deserves to make it there, and the Rams offense certainly deserves to make it there with how efficient they've been. They may have to do it without Blake Corum, but I'm not too worried for the Rams. They still have Kyron Williams as their main back. So let me know what your guys' playoff thoughts are in the comments below. I mean, if you have the Jaguars or the Seahawks in it, great. If you have the Niners, I think the Niners have a legit chance. I think even the Bills and Patriots have legit chances to make it out of the AFC. And again, can't really sleep on Houston either. Houston, they're on a roll right now. So, I mean, as long as you don't predict the Chargers, Steelers, or Panthers to make it, I'm not going to call you crazy. Maybe if you pick those three teams, I'll call you a little bit crazy, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. I'm Grant Fluff from Fletcher Sports Zone signing off. I have the Rams defeating the Broncos in Super Bowl 60.